Hey, Rick McBride here with your Property Masters in 5 minutes of free time, McBride Realty Group. Today we're going to continue on with the sales contract. This is the as-is residential contract for sale and purchase from Florida Realtors and approved by the Florida Bar. Again, we're not attorneys. This is not legal advice. We're not attorneys. This is not legal advice. And we
Get a key, man.
a customer to come in. I don't want him to be here. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. The contract, we're not lawyers, so this is not legal advice. This is just our interpretation of what it is. So Section 11 talks about property maintenance, and it says, except for ordinary wear and tear, casualty loss, seller shall maintain the property, including but not limited to lawn, shrubbery, and pool, in existing condition as of the effective date of the contract. So if something happens, if the roof breaks or something along those lines, then we would have to, you would have to fix that. Except for ordinary wear and tear. How much ordinary wear and tear is going to happen in a week? Section 12 is the very important part of the contract, one of the most important parts. It's the property inspection and right to cancel. Basically says that the buyer has the right to inspect any and all parts of the property, basically. And if left blank, it's 15 days. We usually do 10 days because 15 is a little long, but you can put whatever number you want in there because it is a blank. But you have the right to inspect the property as you desire during that period. And in the buyer's sole discretion, if it's not acceptable to the buyer may terminate this contract by delivering written notice of such election to the seller prior to the expiration of the inspection period. So they don't have to provide an inspection report, they don't have to do anything. They just have to say, I did my inspections and I'm not happy with the report. Okay? If the buyer timely terminates the contract, then of course they get their deposit back, and the buyer shall be responsible for paying for all of these inspections and for any damage that they happen to cause during the inspection, to restore the property back to its original condition. Very rarely do you have a problem like that, but every now and then the inspector accidentally breaks something and they'll typically fix it anyway. So unless the buyer exercises this right, the buyer accepts the physical condition. So after 15 days, you're basically accepting the condition of the property. Any violation of codes or environmental or safety codes, but not subject to the as-is contract, the buyer will be responsible for all repairs required by the buyer's lender. Right? You also have another inspection period. It is the walk-through re-inspection. This is usually done the day prior or the day of closing in the morning. You basically walk in, make sure that the seller didn't take out all of the stuff. Say they didn't take the refrigerator that was in the contract or the dishwasher or something like that. Make sure that all the fixtures are in place, that type of thing. Usually takes about 10 minutes. And then there's a new clause in this new contract, the seller assistance and cooperation in closeout of building permits. So if the buyer's inspection identifies open or needed building permits, the seller shall promptly deliver to buyer all plans with written documentation in the seller's possession relating to the improvements which are subject to the permits, and shall cooperate with the buyer's efforts to obtain estimates to resolve the permit issues. Seller's obligation to cooperate shall include seller's execution of necessary authorizations, consents, and other documents to buyer to conduct inspection and have estimates for such work repaired. But in fulfilling such obligations, seller shall not be required to expend or become obligated to expend any money. So that's a little bit different. That's basically saying that there's an open permit that the buyer can go get them. Of course, the buyer can ask the seller to complete the permits, but the buyer can go get them. And finally, assignment of repair and treatment contracts and warranties. At the buyer's options and costs, the seller will at closing assign all assignable repair, treatment, and maintenance contracts and warranties to the buyer. So, for instance, if they have a termite bond, they will go ahead and assign that to the buyer. If it's a newer house, it still has any warranties on the roof for the structure or something like that, that would be also assigned. Any assignable type of warranties or contracts would be assigned to the buyer at that time. You want to enter into a contract for top dollar? Give us a call. Shoot us a text 386-866-1007. Put our master marketing program